Hey, what's up guys? All right, in today's video, I'm gonna be filming some of the phones that I'm gonna be working on today. So the first phone that I'm gonna be working on today is the Samsung Galaxy Note 9, and I'm gonna be doing it without the frame. So there's two ways to fix a Samsung Note 9 display screen. You could either do it with the frame or without the frame. Without the frame takes a little bit longer, but the cost of parts are cheaper, so you can make a little bit more profit on that. So let's get this going on right now. All right, once again, this is Samsung Note 9. Let's get to it.
All right, so this is gonna be the first of 5 cell phones that I'm gonna show you guys. So first things first, what we gotta do is take off the back cover of the Samsung Note. And the way that you see me doing it is by blowing heat around the edges of the back and just sliding poker cards to slice through the adhesive. And now I have the back cover off. All of the screws come out and you take those plastic pieces off just like this. And then I go directly and just connect the new screen to make sure everything is fine. As I see everything's working fine, I unplug it, and then what I then do is I take the motherboard out and also I take the battery out. So then I heat up the screen, and then I pretty much, whichever way I can just break the screen out of the frame, because the whole screen is getting replaced anyways, right? So then I clean up every little thing in the frame, all the old adhesive, all the little pieces of glass. I even get a toothbrush to clean out anything that I can't see. And then I lay down new adhesive, pre-cut adhesive. And then on this phone, I lay down extra adhesive. The reason why I lay extra adhesive on this phone is because the adhesive that comes with the new screen just isn't strong enough. So that's why I put extra adhesive. Otherwise you'll get this, whenever you push into the screen will kind of like flex up and down, and you'll hear like this kind of like a popping sound, which it's sticking and unsticking from the frame. So after that's done, you just put everything back in. The motherboard goes back in, the battery, screws, and then more adhesive to put the back cover right back onto the phone.
And there it is, Samsung Note 9, ready to go. Done. All right, quickly. So as you may have noticed, I put extra adhesive underneath the screen. The reason for that is starting on the Galaxy S9 or even the Note 9, also the Note 8. If you don't put extra adhesive on there, you'll get this like popping sound. So the display is like kind of flexing. And so what you're actually listening to is, if that happens to you, it's a sticking and then an unsticking, sticking and then unsticking. So this screen right here, it's when you push on it hard, it's solid. You don't hear a tick, 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 or a flexing of the screen. That's why I use extra adhesive. All right, this one's done. On to the next one. All right, so phone number 2. So phone number 2 is an iPhone 10. The back is cracked, but the customer didn't want to fix the back, so I only fixed the front side of that. So let's just get right into it. All right, so before I begin on this, just to show you guys, this is a perfectly good AMOLED screen, right? It's a perfectly good screen. So you have 2 options what to do with this screen. So I'm gonna keep this screen. I can either sell it off for money, or I can refurbish it myself or pay somebody else to refurbish it. So most likely I'm gonna sell this off. So you make 2 profits on this phone. I don't know if you guys have seen the other videos of mine. So I'm gonna make the profit of repairing the screen on this one, and then I'm gonna keep the screen, and then I'm gonna sell it off to a refurbishing company for an additional income, for more money. So remember, these screens, 2 profits on this one. Let's get this one started.
All right, the iPhone X, or the iPhone 10. Now this phone is just straightforward. This phone to me is just like the easiest phone to fix for a screen, that is. So pretty much you just, once again, you blow heat around the edges. You take out 5 screws that hold down the shields that hold the connections down. Just unplug them. Another 3 screws that hold down that cable right there that you guys see. That's where the ear speaker is at. And then you just work in reverse. That's it. Pretty much seriously, this is like the easiest phone ever to fix. iPhone 10 is easy, the 10s, the 10s Max, they're all pretty much all the same. So that's it. Just wrap it up.
All right, there, everybody. Once again, on a lot of the phones, any of the iPhones or the Samsungs, if you choose, you can actually sell the screens off. All right, and one last thing before I move on to the next phone. One kind of insider tip, the way that people get original Apple screens, they're refurbished, which is perfectly fine, right? Because I use refurbished screens. But that's the real reason how people get real original Apple screens. They save these from broken phones and they refurbish them and they'll reuse them on somebody else's phone. On to the next. See you guys. All right, phone number 3. Phone number 3 is going to be an iPhone 8 Plus, and I'm going to be installing an original Apple refurbished screen on there so you guys can see how it looks. The screens look brand new. Even though they're refurbished, they look brand spanking new. All right, let's just get into it.
All right, so I'm just showing you guys this part just so you guys can see that the vibration motor was broken. I thought it was just some loose screws, but when I opened the phone, but no. All right, so this iPhone is, I would say, takes a lot longer than the iPhone 10 that you guys just saw. There's just more to it. There's like 15 to 20 screws in this phone. It probably takes like 10 extra minutes to do this phone.
All right, so just to quickly show you guys something, this is an iPhone 8 Plus screen, and as you see right here, Apple logos on the wires. That means this is an original Apple screen. It's just refurbished, right? So you guys see, the screen looks like it's brand new. Let's get it in focus. There you go. Looks like it's brand new, right? Customer is getting an original Apple screen. So,
all right, so let's get right back into it. So the whole focus when repairing the screen on this phone is you just got to be organized. When you're taking out all the screws, there's a chance that you might get screws mixed up, but you don't want to do that. So just kind of just be organized and keep your eye on things as you lay them out. And the other thing on this phone is just be careful taking out the home button. It's a sensor. If somehow you're too rough with the home button, it may stop working actually. And then you got to take it to the Apple store because they're the ones with the new sensors. So you don't want to do that.
all right, now this phone is done. All right, so the next 2 phones are going to just be back to back. Phone number 4 and phone number 5. The first one up is going to be a Galaxy S8 Plus, and I'm going to replace the full display screen with the frame on this one. So basically, when I do it with the frame, I'm just taking the insides of the phone out and just sticking it into another shell. And then after that one, we're going to get right into an iPhone XR. So let's get this started. All right, so we're going to start off with the Samsung S8 Plus. So this one's going to be kind of pretty easy because I'm going to do this one with the frame. So basically what is going to happen here is I'm going to take this back cover off, and then I'm just going to transfer the insides and just stick it in here seal it back up, and you're just gonna be like good to go, right? So let's just do that right now.
All right, Galaxy S8 Plus. Now this phone is very similar to the Samsung Note 9 that I showed you guys earlier. The only difference is I'll just talk about it in this section coming up right now.
All right, so to recap once again, this is how this is gonna work. And just so you guys know, the guy that came here, he wanted this color on his phone. You see how this is like black? He's like, I don't mind, give me this one. So he's gonna get this one. So I'm gonna take all this and stick it in here, and then it's gonna be good to go. So let's do this.
All right, so now that we pick it up from here, as you can tell, the back of the phone is already off. So what you pretty much do is you just start taking everything out of the insides of the phone. The motherboard, the battery, any of these little sensors, you just start taking everything out. The charging port, everything's gonna get transferred into the new shell. But I want you guys to pay a close attention to what I'm about to teach you guys right here.
All right, so I'm gonna stop the video right here just to show you guys this. So this is for anybody that's kind of learning, because I bet you guys have been in this situation, especially if you're a phone repairer. So some of you guys have maybe done it this way with the display screen being replaced with the frame. So what you're supposed to do, as a lot of these screens that come with the frames, they don't have these gaskets right here. You see, there's no gasket. And you see how this one has a gasket, right? You see that little square thing? You're supposed to take this out and stick it into here. The reason why is because you put the phone back together and then the customer calls you back and says, my front selfie camera is blurry. Why is it doing that? And then you come and check it out, and you undo the screws and then it looks fine, but then when you screw the screws back, the front selfie camera becomes blurry again. That's the reason for this gasket right there. It gives the camera enough space so it's not hitting up against the glass right here. So remember, once again, that's a huge tip, which I learned, is transfer the little gasket, the little square gasket right there, and transfer it on here. That's if you're doing it just like this with the full frame. All right, let's get back to business.
All right, so since we're picking this up at midpoint, as you see all this stuff that's kind of scattered on the table right here, it's already out of the old frame. Everything just gets put back into the new frame. Motherboard, battery, charging port, front selfie camera, and then that sensor at the top. Can't think of what it's called. A proximity sensor, there you go. And then you start putting all the screws back with the little plastics that cover the back. And then you just apply new adhesive to the back glass, and then you seal it back up.
All right, that's the Galaxy S8 Plus. Now we're gonna do this one. We're gonna get straight into the iPhone XR.
Now, as we get into this iPhone XR, as I showed you guys earlier, the iPhone X, the 10 and the XR are two completely different phones to fix. The XR is more like the iPhone 6S, the 7s, and the 8s. The difference with this one is the iPhone XR doesn't have a home button or the fingerprint scanner. They took it away starting with the iPhone X, as you guys know. Now, when learning how to repair phones in general, everybody starts learning how to fix iPhones first. Just like how I did. When I first started learning how to repair phones, I started with iPhones. They're just easier to deal with. There's no gluing involved. You pretty much just need a screwdriver and maybe like a couple of like as you see, I have that like black plastic stick on there. It's just something just to unhook connections. But fixing iPhones, I think anybody can get it down. There's a little bit of learning, but I think you can just catch on real quick. And that's just gonna wrap it up with this video, you guys. See, everything's working here. We're good to go.
All right, thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna wrap it up right there. If you guys have any questions at all, just write them in the comments below. All right, thank you guys for watching. Peace.